It's time we switch to German politics because this is our last current event.
Let's do it.
It's time we talk about German politics. This is massive news that cannot be understated. For the first time in modern German history, the far right and the center right have worked together to pass some piece of legislation at the local level. This is the first time that the far right in Germany has been part of a piece of legislation since the Nazi Party. So the center-right legislators in the East German state of Thuringia wanted to cut local property taxes by a small amount and did so with the support of the far-right Alternative for Germany, or the AfD. Now, when you first hear this, they cut property taxes by a little bit. That's not a big deal. This is a massive deal for the psyche and of the German people, and for the system of German governments and its resiliency against anti-democratic forces.
This is exactly how you open the door.
Yeah.
You open the door with a move that seems like it's not a big deal, right? Yeah. And then the next thing that's a little bit higher seems like it's not a big deal either because it's only a little bit higher.
And this is when it gets like really, really scary. It's when the middle classes and the bourgeois say, you know what, I want a tax cut. Let's side with the Nazis.
Yep.
That's when everything goes to hell, and that's what the CDU is choosing to do in Thuringia. So this is coming from the leader of the Green Party. For me, a taboo has been broken. It shows me not only that the firewall is gone, but that there is now open collaboration. That's strong language. And that's what is feeling throughout all of these other German parties. Now, this is happening a lot in East Germany. AfD now leads in polls around 28%. Last time we talked about AfD, it was at 22. They've gone up 6 points since the last time we talked about the AfD.
Wow.
Next year, the eastern states of Thuringia, Saxony, and Brandenburg will all hold parliamentary elections, and polls show that the party is leading in all three of the states.
Wow.
Every single one of them. Now, the firewall is history. The CDU and the AfD are in open collaboration. The Thuringia is just the beginning, the AfD party leader says. Alice Weidel posted on X, formerly Twitter, "It's time to respond to the democratic will of the citizens everywhere in Germany." The AfD is saying to you that the firewall is history and Thuringia is just the beginning. Believe them when they say that they're winning. Please.
Yeah.
This is scary stuff. And what I think is so fascinating is Thuringia has a long history of far-right politics in Germany specifically, okay? In the 1930s, Thuringia was the first state where the Nazi Party took real governing power in a coalition with conservative parties. What were these conservative parties that joined the Nazi Party? The Christian National Peasants Farmers Party, the Reich Party of the German middle class, the German People's Party. These are the people who let the Nazis get to where they were, okay? There's a great book called The Death of Democracy, and it outlines how this happened. This is the beginning. When you get conservatives and the middle class to say, no, you know what? I'll accept hatred of the other as long as you cut my taxes. That's how we get here. So Germany, you got to get your act together because this is insanity to me.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
It's absolutely insane. And I mean, like I could go into a little bit of the history of the whole political maneuvering. But the point is, the second that the far right gets into government, they will push it to the extreme.
Yeah.
They let one Nazi guy into the government of Thuringia in the 1929, and he made a eugenics program. He started this like intense anti-pacifism campaign where he banned films like All Quiet on the Western Front. He was insane. And so we just can't allow any of the far right to break their way into government. It freaks me out.
Yeah.
And the most extreme members of the AfD are actually found in Thuringia. This is actually the guy, Bjorn Hawk. He's the guy who is chanting Nazi stormtrooper slogans at his political rallies.
Oh.
And that the German court system has allowed him to be called a Nazi without defamation.
I mean, again, it just resonates with what we're talking about with Poland, what we're talking about with Hungary. When you have these former Soviet states that have never really bounced back, they have had tons of emigration. Even though Germany as a whole is a strong economy, that tends to be that is centered in the West,
Very
right?
centered in the West. Thuringia is not a very prosperous region right now, and that's why they're dipping into this national, this nationalist hatred.
Exactly. And it is, yeah, it's frightening. And of course, you have Berlin that's in the east that is it's an enclave because, of course, half of Berlin was democratic and was kind of taken by the West during the Cold War. But when you're not doing well, people are leaving, you're one of the people who remains, you start holding on to whatever kind of sense of identity you have. And the easiest way to establish your identity as something that you're proud of, weirdly enough, when you're not prosperous, is to put others down, right? And so you have the AFD that seizes on these anti-immigrant notions and on anti-LGBT rhetoric, and it's all about putting down the other to kind of only in name to raise up yourself, right? Only you can say that they're worse and they're the problem, so you can sleep better at night about you not being the problem. And so they're taking advantage in these places that are struggling, which of course is what fascist movements always do.
Of course.
And it's terrifying.
Of course. This is par and parcel. And we see this very common in American history from its inception. Lyndon B. Johnson had the best quote on this. If you can convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, this is a quote from the 1960s, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you.
Yeah.
And it can't be more, it is universal. Okay, whether you're in Germany or the US, if someone can pick out another and tell them that you're better than them and tell them that they're stealing from you and tell them that they're evil, they're demonic, you'll take it. Because if you're poor and your life sucks and you have no economic opportunity, you'll take whatever you can get.
Yeah.
And so now the AFD is, and now I am pissed that the Conservative Party has done this. Like, I'm shocked because for so long, the CDU under Angela Merkel was so vehemently against this. And now with the new leadership, the firewall's broken. And
we just don't know where it might go from here. And that's what's so terrifying, right? You don't know where it ends.
No, you don't know. And we know how it started. It started in the 30s with the Nazis. Literally this way. The exact same way. The German party... The German party for the middle class let the Nazis come to power. So please, just do not let the AFD take power in your governments over there. Do whatever you can. I wish I could do more to help you, but I can't. Yeah, it's a tragedy.
Yeah.
All right.
It's when this show makes me feel bad.
I know.
Yeah.